everybody, this is the David Effect. It's been a momentous occasion for me this evening. Today's, the day X-Men Apocalypse came out, and I went and saw the movie this evening, and I'm gonna keep this spoiler free. I'm not gonna mention all the greatness about the movie itself. I'm gonna talk about more about how important the X-Men were for me. We'll just start from the beginning. My mom was pregnant. She was pregnant with me, and she always read books. She was a reader, and that's probably why I'm a reader. And she ran out of her books, and my dad, being a Marvel guy, where you see where my Marvel stuff comes from, had X-Men comic books out and about. I think he had like issues 1 through something. I forget what they were. He doesn't have them anymore, so I'd have them by now. But she read them, and pregnant with me, and I came out being a X-Men monster, lack of a better term to use, because I grew up loving everything about the X-Men. I wouldn't call myself the X-Men expert. I'm definitely an enthusiast. I'm definitely a really, really big fan. I read a lot of them. I didn't read them all. I read a lot of them. I read a lot of the Ultimate. I read Astonishing. I read Uncanny. From the Brood to the Phalanx to the Phoenix Saga, Operation Zero Tolerance, Onslaught. It was. I didn't read the Phoenix 5 because that looked. Ugh. Just, anyways. Point is, actually, I didn't read the X-Men v Avengers because I thought the story arc was kind of funky too. I kind of stayed away from that one. But regardless, I have always been a fan of the X-Men. And all of their other teams. X-Factor, X-Force. You can even include Excalibur in there. I didn't read Excalibur as much as like a friend of mine who has, but I know enough about them. X-Force I loved. Or you call them New Mutants if you want to be, picky. And all the variations of the X-Force. I didn't read them all. I haven't read all the variations, but I read, when it first got started by Cyclops to have Wolverine, Warpath, Wolfsbane, and, I forget who the other person was in there. Wolverine, Warpath, Wolfsbane, X-23. That's what it was. Loved them. Still do. So when X-Men was first announced back in, how old was I? 20. It was 99. I think it was like either 99, 98, 99 they announced it. I remember reading in the Wizards comic. I show you how old it was. I remember reading in the Wizards comic that they were working on the X-Men movie. Lost my crap. I was like, the day has finally happened where my team is now going to be on the screen. And I remember reading everything about it, from the casting to the recasting to just the making of the film. I remember watching the teaser trailer for the X-Men movie over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm telling you, I think I've watched that 30, 40, 50, 60 times. And the teaser trailer was only probably like 45 seconds, but I made it last like 45 minutes to an hour. That's how much I watched it. And I memorized. I own the first 2 soundtracks? I think the first 2. I know I have the first one. I think I have the first 2 soundtracks for the X-Men films. I had at one point owned all the X-Men figures. I had to sell them because I was moving and stuff. Hurts my heart that I did. I still have my Wolverine, my Hugh Jackman, and the comic Wolverine that came in the box. I have that. I have an X-Men 2 movie mug that's sitting right there with still in the box. But I've loved X-Men since the movies came out. And I know everyone had gripes about the first 3 movies, and I agree with them. So when they released the announcement about First Class, I was like, let's go. I know First Class. Now, granted, it wasn't the first class we wanted, but it was first class nonetheless. And I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. You know, I never heard of Michael Fassbender. I knew who James McAvoy was, but I was like, Michael Fassbender, I know. But when I watched the movie, I liked it. I was like, this is a good start. If this is the goal is to reset the universe, this is a good start. Then Days of Future Past came out. Oh man, that just, I was so happy. I was like, my X-Men are finally on the map again. We're resetting the universe. We're making things right again. We're gonna make sure the X-Men are legit. I was so happy when they did that. And I remember the first day I read online that they announced they were working on X-Men Apocalypse. And I like I was back, and when they first announced the first X-Men movie, I lost my crap. And then when the first teaser came out for X-Men Apocalypse, the emotions that came from me about it, and people look at me like I lost my mind, like either I like won $1 million or something, and I was like, you guys don't understand. This is childhood coming to life. This is stuff I grew up on. This is stuff that molded parts of my imagination, how I write, things I see, how I see things, some of the characters I've created. It's molded that for me. So I'm going to keep this spoiler free. Like I said, I'm not going to really talk about the movie itself. But I will say this, I have my top 10 movies of all time. And, I mean, we're talking about all time. I will argue it should my face fall off all time. You know, I don't care what your opinion is, these are my movies. There's been a bunch, different ones, all through the years. And even the old ones, like Flight of the Navigators in there, The Black Hole. There's some old ones in there. Goonies, Short Circuit. There's all, but it's changed through the years because, you know, you get older, you see movies that really, really get you. And the thing is, this top 10 is for, like, movies that really get to me. And they change me in some way. You know, as a kid, some of these movies changed me. Like, Goonies, obviously, anyone who knows Goonies, it changed them. Who watched it. Knew the movie from beginning to end. The Last Starfighter changed me. It fed me when I wasn't watching a Star Wars movie. Last Starfighter was the dream come true for a gamer like myself to live into the world of the game and fight the bad guys you fight on an arcade. That's me. I love that. But through the years I grew up and I started liking other films and it added to that list. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Was it Dawn or Rise? I think it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. First time seeing it, added to the list. Had to be done. Man of Steel brought out a level of emotion from me, and I was like, that has to be added to the list of all time. So it took over as number one. And then I saw Captain America, Winter Soldier. Just great. Love that movie. Number one. Civil War didn't take over. It tied with number one. It didn't take over. I felt it was the same as Winter Soldier. The feeling I got from it. Loved it. Tonight, I will willingly admit that X-Men Apocalypse almost brought me to tears. Not because it was a horrible movie. See, you guys don't understand. It's like, whoa, they brought it. It's a fictional film about comic book characters. How did it bring emotion? You have to understand something, that X-Men wasn't just a comic to read. It was part of what I grew up with. We always speculate about X-Men. I have friends. We always talked about them. When you don't understand. Some of you probably do, but when I was old enough to where my imagination grew to a point where I could start creating my own characters, coming up with my own stories, I pulled from certain things. And when I was a kid, I was like 10 or 11 years old. When I was a kid, I pulled from certain things. Power Rangers and the X-Men. That's what I knew. And it helped me mold who is Darkner today. Other things did too, but they helped me mold what Darkner is today. Stuff keeps going wrong with my stuff. And it was important because anyone who's a creator, whenever you make something, whether it's a piece of art, a poem, you write a book, a song, a piece of you goes into that. So to see the X-Men live like I did this evening is like watching a piece of myself on screen. I grew up with, they molded my imagination. They're a foundation to a lot of things that I do today. My references, my ideas, they helped me. And I always wanted to be different because of them. I always wanted to be a mutant because I thought, why be plain? I don't like being ordinary. Ordinary is not fun. I want to be different like the X-Men. I grew up like that. And in my own way, I am. But one thing I do appreciate about this movie, that it brought back a lot of things I remembered as a kid. And I sent the message to my buddies after I watched the movie, and I'm sure my phone's probably going to go off later about it. But I made this confirmation today. This is May 27th, 2016. The David Effect is saying this officially. You can quote me on it. X-Men 2, X-Men The Last Stand, I've officially denounced. I don't consider that part of the universe anymore. Not that there weren't good things in it. We because of those X-Men movies, we have Hugh Jackman, but X-Men First Class on has brought the X-Men I've been asking for. It's the idea I've been speculating since I was a child. What if they made a movie? You know, it'd be cool, blah, 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 blah. And they can bring out this, they can bring this. You know, I'm wearing my Mark Silvestri X-Men shirt. It's a big deal for me. And if you don't go see it, that's fine. You don't have to. But I think it should happen. If you like the X-Men, even if you're not a big fan like me, but if you know who the X-Men are because of the first movies, you should definitely go see this one because this will remold your entire view how the X-Men are supposed to work. And all those haters of Bryan Singer can stuff it now because he saved the franchise. When Matthew Vaughn dipped out during Days of Future Past and Singer took over, he saved the franchise and brought it to where it is now. And now we're back to what we want when it comes to the X-Men. And so I look forward to any more they're going to do. They have a new cast, young cast, so there's so much more they can do now. Let's go. Let's go. This is the one time I appreciate Fox. Because they've been screwing me up lately in the last few years. Thank you for bringing out the X-Men that we've been trying to have for many, many years. My X-Men are back.